Welcome, everybody. Another wonderful night, Monday night, chewing the barbecue fat. Got a great night planned tonight. Got Luke Darnell with Old Virginia Smoke on. So excited to have him. It's been a fun week. I've had a lot of good feedback about the past 2 weeks show when we had the little round table. So that was fun. Thanks for all y'all watching. Thanks for subscribing to the YouTube page. Keep it up. What's up, Carrie? Hope you're doing well. Hello, Lincoln. Like the page, share the page, subscribe to the page, whatever you need to do. But Luke, thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate everything. Everybody knows who you are, but I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself, tell everybody a little about yourself and what you've been up to lately.
Sure. My name's Luke Darnell, pitmaster of Old Virginia Smoke, and we've been a competition team for about 7 years now. I cook with my wife, Kim, the little general. And welcome to 2020. We've cooked 7 contests this year. We have another double left this year. And, looking forward to going out there and having some fun and seeing some friends. So that'll be good.
So you said you've cooked 7 contests so far. How many contests would you have cooked by now in the past couple of years?
In the past couple of years, we would have probably already cooked 25 to 30. But this was always going to be a different year for us anyway, as we started a catering company on January 1st. So we were going to spend a lot more time focused on that this year already. So we were hoping to get between 15 and 20.
Okay.
But we didn't. And, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it's hard to say that it was a good thing because it wasn't for sure. Like starting a catering company January 1st, 3 months before a pandemic wasn't the best of ideas,
Yeah.
But we've made it work. And like everybody in the restaurant industry, you either pivoted or you didn't. And, we pivoted really quickly and we started doing meals for people, during the week and really, had some success doing that. And it's been really good for the business.
Good. So just like, you use it almost like as a competition. When something happens, you fix it and you move on and you go forward, right?
And that's what you got to do. It's, I tell people a lot of times about competition barbecue and they don't really get it. And I tell them how it's changed my life and a lot of things. Before barbecue, I used to be I was around a 6'7" handicap golfer. But I never had the right mental approach to it because I'm not detail oriented and I'm not, I easily get caught up in the moment. Competition barbecue has taught me to be more thoughtful about everything that you do, and it's made me better in a lot of aspects of my life. And I don't take that lightly. Even just to go back to the golf example, I'm a much different golfer now because of competition barbecue than I was before. I think about things a lot differently. I think about process a lot differently, and it's really changed a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of your processes in competition barbecue. I know you had one of your more famous videos or whatever you've put out as a chicken process, right? You're one of the first people, and to me, that saw a chicken trimming video that made it pretty simple, yet very effective. How do you think about the processes? What process are you looking for?
A lot of people, in terms of the process, everybody, something's not going right and people want to make changes and stuff and they want to add things to their process. I'm looking to make it as simple as I can. And most times when we're stuck in a funk with a category, it's taking things away and really simplifying it. The chicken trim video that I did, I had struggled with chicken for years, and I had taken Donnie Bray's class.
Yeah.
Specifically to learn how to do chicken. And I was tired of scraping skin. I think that's what they do when you die and you go to hell. They make you scrape chicken skin. And there just had to be a different way. And I remember after eating a piece of his chicken, we had a break, and I went up and I gave him a hug, and he said still it's the only person that's ever hugged him in a barbecue class. And because I was like, dude, you just changed my life. This is what I've been looking for. And I've worked on that chicken trim. We've all trimmed thousands of pieces of chicken at this point. And I was like, you know what? Let's put it out there and let's just show people. And I still do it to this day. I taught a private class a couple months ago, and they were like, what do we need to do to get ready? I'm like, you need to watch this video, and you need to have 12 pieces of chicken ready to go tomorrow morning. And they're like, you don't really do it that way. I'm like, well, leave 4 for me to trim. I'll trim them on site just to show you that it's exactly what I do.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's great. Well, you got a lot of people saying hello to you. So I'm going to let you have a chance. Tim Malloy saying hello. Chris Schaefer wants to know how he can work on a beard like you. Yeah. I don't know if he can or not.
I don't know if he can either. He has to start now, and maybe he'll catch up by like St. Patrick's Day.
That's awesome. Way to go, Chris. I do believe Chris just overtook, I think, went back to number 1 in KCBS. I think I could be wrong. I know it's him, Slaps, it's all close together in this points chase. Are you keeping up with the points chase this year since you're not cooking as much?
Nope. Got to be honest with you. I talked to Joe earlier this week, and he mentioned that he was up there, and I was like, wow, I haven't even looked. I mean, we don't have contests on the East Coast, or especially up here in the Mid Atlantic and Northeast. Everything's been canceled. So, I looked earlier in the year when we had 7, and we were like 25th in the country. But I mean, every day, things kept dying, things kept falling away, and it's like, I can't even. There's no way that we're going to be able to get into that this year. So that's why I kind of started doing other things in lieu of competition barbecue to try and stay in it and stay with, what's going on. We started our own podcast. We started a YouTube channel, and just really because we missed it so much,
Yeah.
It's
so tell me about your podcast. I know that this came out, a month ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago?
About 5 weeks ago, yeah.
Yep.
And it's something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I enjoy all of the barbecue podcasts, but I wanted to attack it at a different level, more to like getting to know the pitmasters and what some of their idiosyncrasies are and things like that, and weird things that we all do that doesn't make sense to anybody else in the world. And there's a couple other podcasts that I like that aren't in the barbecue genre that I just I was like, I'm gonna ask these guys some of these questions, and I think it'll be interesting. And it has been interesting. It's been fun, and we have a lot more planned with that. But it's been good, and really getting to know some people better than I thought that I had already known. You know what I mean? That's been a lot of fun, and I'm sure you get that a lot with this show. This show is great, and you really get to learn a lot more about people, and because I mean, we're all pit masters, but we all also do a lot of other different stuff, and it's great finding out about that stuff and finding out about my favorite questions are about superstitions and stuff like that. I love that stuff.
Yeah, that's because there's not that many people that competition barbecue is their full-time job, right? There's a select few that do it pretty much full-time, but most people have another life outside of competition barbecue, and being able to, like you say,
whoa, right, and it's great. I did something different.
Can you hear me?
Second.
Do you have me back now?
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can now.
Okay, there we go.
I clicked on the link to say hi to Jay Ducote, and and then I started getting another video feed. I was like, oh boy, see, yeah, I'm like Johnny in the Karate Kid thing that's on Netflix right now. That's how I am with technology. It's no good.
You and me both. Robert Van Ripe on here smoked me silly. My buddy, he's always said, Brian, you got the Dollar General show, Dollar Tree show of barbecue shows, and it's been great. Donnie Bray, how you doing? Donnie Luke, he says, hey, how's it been going? We just talked about you, Donnie.
Yeah.
So
Donnie, I told the story about hugging you, buddy.
great stuff, man. And that's what it's all about in competition barbecue and barbecue as a whole. And just seeing how barbecue has taken everybody off on different levels. I was talking to Blaine, or not talking, I was messaging Blaine Hunter this week, trying to see if I could get him to come on the show. He's like, man, nobody wants to hear from me. I'm a has-been. I was like, no. That's what it's all about, right? Like what you did in competition barbecue has taken you to another level and doing other things. So I mean, people want to hear what's going on. So that's like with you, this is kind of the competition has gotten you to where you've been able to do the catering. What are you going to do with it? And then are you going to come back to competition barbecue at all? Or are you just going to move forward with what's going on?
I'm never going to stop competing. It's given us so much and so many friends, and we've seen so many different parts of the country. And plus, it's something that me and my wife do together, and we absolutely, that's how we spend time together.
Yeah.
We're so excited about this double competition in New Jersey in a couple of weeks because we got a new puppy. So I want him to have his first walk. So I gotta, I've been practicing this stuff because it's really important for me for Odin to get his first walk. That's important.
Awesome. I don't know if you remember or not, but we cooked together in February at Young Harris.
Yes.
Man, we cooked in the snow. It was crazy. I was up the hill from you. But man, what a crazy time. And you, like you saying, you get to travel all over. I mean, we get to go to a resort up in the North Georgia mountains, and it happens to snow right near the middle of a contest, and it goes away. I mean, just crazy.
It was
crazy
that was a great experience. I've always enjoyed that event. I always go into that event with no aspirations because it's way down there for us and different flavors and different stuff. But this year, we rented a cabin. We had one of the cabins down there, and we were right next to Motley Q. We had not met them before, and right next to Scott Smith and his boy. And we cooked out of the cabin. We had the Jambo outside, and it was a lot of fun. The snow was something. I mean, driving that golf cart around the snow, it won't go anywhere. And I had to run a box down the hill in the snow, and
it was crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are you planning on going back next year?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to it next year, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch. But Bobby Cannon, good to see you, man. Congratulations, Tina.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, congratulations on winning the show on Netflix. Pretty awesome. Pretty cool. Yeah, Dave Butler should have gone to Murphy, North Carolina last weekend. I heard it was a great time. So Luke, we've still had competitions down here in the Southeast, just complete different competitions, right? So instead of the ones we're used to having when you're having public and festivals and all that kind of stuff, now it's pretty much just come cook a contest and go. And it seems to be changing, right? Like, so before, if it wasn't a $15,000 payout, people wouldn't go. Now it shows that people really like cooking barbecue and the competition of it, because people are showing up from all over the country cooking barbecue contests, and
right,
it's a lot of fun. Go ahead.
No, it is, and it's it's one of those things. But I think there's a delicate line, and I may say something here controversial, but I don't really care. I feel like, yes, people want to go cook and they want to do things and everything, but I think also, like, I think there's been a lot of competitions out there that have popped up out of nowhere because they know people will go and cook and spend the money. And the payouts don't necessarily match the fees, and that upsets me a little bit. I just feel like and I think it's prevalent right now with everything that's going on in this world, that there's just people who are being opportunistic about it. And, this whole thing's terrible. It sucks. I mean, I have my feelings about it. I have a bunch of elderly family. I can't get sick or I can't be around them, and it's extremely difficult. And I don't know. It's like everything right now. Everything is so polarizing, and you have mixed feelings about everything. I mean, it's but for me right now to get into a car and drive 10 hours to cook a barbecue contest, it's not really there. If there were more stuff around here, I would get in. But we're enjoying it. We're working on the business, and we're trying to keep people fed. So it's good.
Yeah, that's what you need to be doing at this point in time, right? Like you
Yeah.
have that opportunity where you can fill that void for people out there. And you know what? That's probably gonna be some of the best barbecue they've ever had coming from a master like yourself, right? So Jay wants to know, where does the World Food Championship win rank amongst your victories?
Oh my. It's probably tied for first. I would say there are 3 victories that are right there. Number 1 would be our first GC, which was at the Beltway Barbecue Battle in Maryland. Number 2 would be winning the National Barbecue Cup down in Cumming, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
That one's probably 1A, just because that was a giant points chasing year. There were all kinds of teams down there. Nobody knew who we were, and I remember Randall telling me that they had to drive over and see who the hell we were because they they had no idea who we were, and that was funny to me because we thought we were on the right path and everything, and that win that day put us 25th in KCBS for the year. And but the World Food win, that whole thing was just such a great experience. And the fact that my wife had left and then we won, and having to fly her back down the next day, I mean, it was kind of storybook stuff, and I'll never forget it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I got to meet, that's the one thing that nobody talks about with World Food, and it's because all these guys, these chefs from around the country, the world, after you win a category, you're in that club, and they all hang out together and share stories and talk. And some of those guys, like Jay, some of those guys have become really good friends. And I haven't talked to Jay in forever, but one time I was down in Baton Rouge, and I called him up and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they were working on this cool menu idea around May the 4th, and he invited me over, and I got to sit there and hang out. And I mean, it's that kind of stuff, and the people that I've met through competition have been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I was talking about Morgan Cheeks. I don't know if you know Morgan. He won the hamburger thing. He got to go to World Foods, and I was talking to him, and he was just talking about how cool of an experience that was. He's cooking. He's like, I'm a backyard guy, griller, making hamburgers with a bunch of French trained chefs, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. I mean, so I could just imagine how cool that is.
Oh, there's a chef from Hawaii named James Aptekin, and just the nicest guy, and he won seafood. And this guy had a team with him, like a bunch of people, and he was flying in stuff. And we were talking in that morning, and he's like, "Well, I had cheese flown in overnighted from Italy, this, that, and the other, and it cost this much." And I was like, "Man, I just ran down to Walmart, just bought 12 racks of $8 rib, And he just kind of looked at me and he's like, "Well, good luck, chef." And I'm like, "Oh, knock that off right now." Like it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So what does next year, what do you hope for next year? I mean, are you looking for anything good, or
next year? I mean, I hope we can do 20 to 25 contests. We want to get back out and and keep traveling the country and cooking in different places. This year we were going to try and go down to Hammond in Louisiana and cook, and we were going to spend a lot more time out in the Midwest and do some Kansas City stuff and some Minnesota stuff and some Iowa stuff. A lot of these guys have become my best friends, and I love cooking with those guys. It's a lot of fun. Not that I don't love cooking here too. Like, I'll always have my favorite contests here, but part of it for us is going different places and seeing different things and experiencing different things. And every time we go somewhere new, we get to meet different people, and that's what it's really all about.
Yeah. So what category do you look forward to cooking the most?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. Looking forward to cooking the most is, I got to go with brisket, because that's really the reason I got involved in all of this, was because I really like brisket and I really wanted to learn how to do it right. And especially since I made the switch to the Jambo, I just really love what comes off of there. I've had great success in the chicken category. I've had a little crisis of faith in the chicken category recently. So I don't really look forward to that. But I really enjoy cooking brisket. To me, it's the ultimate barbecue art form, is making that piece of meat taste good and be tender. I think that's what I look forward to.
So you said that was what got you into competition barbecue, is learning how to cook a good brisket.
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned throughout this process since you becoming a competition cook? What would you tell somebody as a good tip on cooking a good brisket?
Every piece of meat is different. You can't be a slave to a timeline. You can't be a slave to a temperature. That piece of meat is going to be done when it's done, and you have to know when it's done. And that's the key. That's the key to being successful in competition barbecue, to me, is, that brisket could be done at 207. It could be done at 213. It could be done at 202. It's all about the feel, and it's all about learning that. And, I've been very lucky in my life to have a bunch of people that have taught me that, and that's been great. Donnie always taught that. Tuffy teaches that. He's like, it doesn't matter what you put on it, it's tenderness game.
Right.
And they're 100% right. And so taking that knowledge, and I try and share it with as many people as I can. Catered an event on Saturday, and there's always a couple guys that are like, hey man, I need, I cook briskets, I can't get it right. I'm like, until it feels like a stick of butter, or, my favorite saying, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on here or not, but I say, if you put that brisket on the table and you smack the table and it jiggles like a stripper's ass, it's done.
Yeah, you can.
And
that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Tim wants to know if you're cooking snakes or A9s these days.
I'm cooking Snake River Farms.
There you go, Tim.
I cooked an A9 about 4 years ago, and it came out, it was red in color like the whole way through, and I just never looked back. I'm sure they're great. I haven't cooked one in a long time, but Snake River Farms product is so consistent week in and week out. Every time I thaw one out, it cooks the same. And that consistency is what I'm looking for. And it's just a great product.
Right. I agree. Dave Butler, he's on the show all the time, watches the show. He says he loves brisket, took fourth place in Murphy in his first KCBS comp and his first walk. Congratulations, Dave. I'm glad you out there doing some good stuff.
Yeah. That first walk is a $30,000 walk. It just cost you everything.
It just cost you a lot of money. But yes, it costs you a lot of money. But the experiences that you gain and the friendships that you gain become part of the barbecue family. It's priceless to me. So Donnie says, simple, cook it till it's done. Man, yep. That's so simple. It really is. It's just we overcomplicate it as much as we can. But so what? So brisket's your favorite. What's your least favorite meat? If you have, I don't. Least favorite's probably not a good
I don't
term.
have a least favorite meat. I mean, I eat at a competition. I eat everything. My wife doesn't even do that anymore, even though she's a taste person. She spits every piece of it out because she's like, I don't want to eat this anymore. I'll eat 2 or 3 pieces of chicken just because A, it's lunchtime, and B, I think it's good.
Right.
I think if I had to pick one that
Let me
frustrates,
say it this way: one that you are struggling with, or one that's harder that you can't just nail. Like you're going to nail chicken and brisket every contest, right? Is there? I mean, maybe you don't, but is there something that you're like just a thorn in your side, or
rib tenderness it's been on me. Sometimes I think they're perfect and then they tighten up in the box, and then sometimes they come out and they're fantastic and they don't score, or ones that I think are bad and they do score, and that's frustrating. And I think a lot of that has been switching. And I'm not blaming the Jambo because obviously it can cook great ribs, but it's just learning a different way in different locations in the pit and how it affects it. So I would say that that's my struggle meat right now.
okay?
Yeah, but I mean, still, like, you know, I love firing up Jambo on a Sunday and cooking ribs anymore just to practice them.
Yeah.
Try
So
different stuff.
that was gonna be my next question. How often are you firing up your Jambo, practicing, or do you use the Jambo to cater with, or what's your
Depends on the job. If it's a smaller job and I can run a practice cook, I will. Uh,
yeah?
but we also offer a package, a catering package. We call it the competition barbecue experience. And we cook all 4 meats. We present them as different courses, pair them with different sides, pair them with wines, and explain how we cook them. And so that's really good practice for me doing it that way as well. And but anytime I get to put a fire in the Jambo, makes me happy.
Right. I hear you. Jim Compart, he's on here. He says he can help you with your ribs. So there you go.
Good old
uh,
Jim.
I love you, Jim. Good. Thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for being part of the show. Um, so, what were you cooking on before the Jambo?
We were backwoods cookers for a long time. We cooked on Humphreys for a couple years there, but I wasn't getting the results that I was getting, that I was getting on the backwoods, and that's what we went back to backwoods that World Food Championship weekend. Um, I cooked on that cooker blind pretty much, and I sold it to a local team here, and it broke my heart to do it. But I think they're going to do great things with it. It's a great cooker. Backwoods are great cookers. We've played around a lot with the gateway drums. Jambo, obviously, love that cooker. It's to me, it's not as much about the cooker as it is learning the cooker and knowing the cooker. You have to know your pit and you have to know yourself. That's the only way you're going to get any better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've had everybody on. Pretty much everybody says, you got to be able to know your cooker, know the airflow, know where know what you're doing with it before you can do anything else. And you can't just go buy any kind of smoker and it's a magic bullet that you're just going to go out and win with. You got to learn it, practice, because everyone's different. I mean,
Right.
but the funny, I mean, when I first got in barbecue, backwoods were it. Everybody was cooking on backwoods.
Mm-hmm. And that's
Right.
it's but there's also 100 different ways to use each cooker. You can
Right.
you can run it backwoods. I ran mine at 234 degrees forever because I got drunk one night and I didn't get it up to 235 on the Guru, and then I wanted brisket the next day, so I ran it at 234 for 5 years. And then we go out to King of the Smoker for Big Papa Smokers event, and
Mhm.
it's 1 a.m. and I'm the only one outside cooking, and I don't see anybody else till 5:30. They haven't made or nothing, and they're staring at me like I've got 4 heads, and I'm the dumbest person there. And I'm like, man, I think there might be a different way to do this.
Might be an easier way, might be, I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I was. I used to cook on a lane, and it was a stick burner, but it wasn't. I mean, I had to cook low and slow overnight with it. And I was watching these guys get up. I was like, man, and I'm exhausted come, Saturday at turn-in times. I'm tired. And then you turn around and you figure out what's going on. I was like, man, there's another way. I'm not gonna say it's a better way or whatever, but there's another way.
That's why barbecue is awesome, is because there's 1,000 different ways to do it.
Yeah, last week we had Boomerang on, Smoke Me Silly, and Rooters and Tutors on, talking chicken and brisket. Well, they all three cook on different cookers. Paul's got a water cooker, Robert's on a stick burner, and Matt and said they're on cans now. So it's like, and every one of them are successful. You don't have, there's not one thing that's going to make you successful. But I want to go back to your comp experience with your catering. So I noticed you were drinking a glass of wine earlier.
Yeah.
What or a bottle, whatever. What are you? What's the pairing that you like to go with, and the different things for those out there looking for a good pairing on?
With brisket, we're going to go with generally a really thick red, and we try and stick to Virginia wines. So we'll do like a Cab Franc or a Merlot or something local. With a lot of the other meats, we're going to do either a nice dry white. With the pork, we're going to do more of a fruity white, like a Viognier or whatever. And it just really, we've worked out some good partnerships with some groups here, and it's cool. I mean, I love doing that stuff, and I have a couple of friends that are in the wine industry, and brought them over to the house and said, bring these type of wines and let's see what works with everything. And yeah, it's been a good experience.
Nice. So I know nothing about wines, but it's really Jay, your buddy Jay, he is commenting again, Cab Franc. So is that something that you got into like once you started catering, or is that something you've always had a passion for?
I used to hate the entire wine drinking experience. I thought it was dumb. I thought it was highfalutin. I thought it was snobby. My wife enjoyed it. She worked in a winery, and she would make me go do these tastings. I had a wine tasting outfit that was these blue plaid shorts and one of those see-through maroon silk shirts, and just to be a jerk, And then we went out I had to go to Sonoma for where I used to work, and we walked into a place. I'm like, this is California. This is going to be worse than Virginia. And I walked in, and the guy was like, what kind of wine do you like? I'm like, what are you putting in the glass? And he's like, we're going to get along. And it was just me and him. And we sat there, and he talked about it, not from a pedestal. And I was like, I can get into this. And so I kind of did, and now I have my favorites. And I can't tell you if it smells of rich mahogany or leather-bound books, but, if it's good and I like it, I can tell you that.
There you go. That's fun. That's probably how some people feel when we talk competition barbecue, right? To your normal backyard guy, we're sitting there like, I whenever I have a practice cook, I invite friends over. I'm like, yeah, it just isn't very good. I'm missing this, it's missing that. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's good, right? Like it's good. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm looking for certain things. I'm looking for this flavor profile to get this out of it, whatever, and they think you're crazy. And until they start, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I see what you're talking about. Now I see those notes that are coming through. And I'm sure that's the same way that wine is. So you love Boone's Farm. J. Ryan Lindsay said you love Boone's Farm.
Yeah. Back in the
day. Now you go on to Cab Franc or something else.
I still enjoy a good Miller Lite from time to time too.
There you go.
I haven't gone fully off the reservation.
No, but that's neat. As you said, it's all different. Learning about the different pitmasters. So one thing you said you like to ask about superstitions. Obviously, one of your superstitions is was cooking at 234 on your backwoods. Yeah. What is one of your superstitions you have now that you don't have your backwoods?
Oh man, one
or a couple, whatever. What are some of your superstitions? One.
So I have this keychain that I have a keychain that has it's a pair of it's like a gosh, what would you call it? It's lederhosen that a friend of mine got me from Germany, and if you push the crotch, it yodels. So every contest before I start rubbing chicken, I go over and make the pants yodel, and then it's time to do chicken. It's just something I've always done.
Right.
There's lots of things, our playlist in the trailer is probably the most eclectic thing you'll ever find, but we got to the point where now we have a playlist for each meet because I want to hear the same songs. And, I'm going to listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan whenever I put the knife to that brisket, playing Jimi Hendrix in Carnegie Hall. My wife hates it because it's 7 minutes long, and but it's amazing to me, and it really puts my mind like right where it needs to be. There's tons of little things. Probably the biggest superstitious thing that I do is underwear selection. I'm a big fan of MeUndies. I don't get paid or sponsored for that. I've bought many guys' underwear before. People think it's weird when underwear shows up and it's from Luke Darnell, and then they put them on and they're like, wow. And I'm in a bit of a crisis mode right now because I have my Saturday pair, but the Sunday pair doesn't work, right? And
no.
Yeah, but there's a stack of 5 that they don't get touched unless it's a competition, and they just don't get touched, and that's just the way life is.
You gotta get that right. You gotta get that right, the right rotation in there now.
Absolutely.
Awesome. What is your favorite contest to go to? I know you said that your favorite win was one of your favorite wins. But what's your favorite contest that you just can't what did you miss out on the most this year?
Oh man, that's tough. The American Royal. We said a long time ago that we would never miss Royal even if we didn't qualify for the Invitational. And last year we went out and we only cooked the Open. And it was the hardest trip ever of my life because, you're sitting there watching all your friends cook and you're like, man, but I vowed that I'd never miss it because it's the collection of everybody from around everywhere.
Yep.
And that's the measuring stick is that contest. And, I was lucky enough that Saturday that Fred needed help. So I went down and got to be in the trailer with him and helped him build boxes and do stuff and got to try his food and was like, wow, this guy's amazing, and next day he turns around and wins the Open. And I was like, wow, I was there for that. That's cool. But we did pretty well ourselves. And that contest is just such an experience every year. And you take away so many friends and so many memories that I'll never miss it. Even if I just go as a spectator, I'll never, ever miss it.
I said the same thing. If I don't make it, if I don't qualify, I'm going to go try and help somebody else. But at least I get to go back next year. I think it was the first time. I don't think you remember, but that was the first time I met you. It was at the Royal last year. I don't remember who I was with, but they introduced me to you, and I was like, man, just super nice guy. Just like now, that every other time I've seen you, nice guy. Yeah, Luke is one of the best folk I've crossed paths with since I got into competition barbecue. He's definitely good for the sport, and I miss the dude not being out there this year.
Oh, Sid, let me tell you about that guy. This is an up and comer guy. He's his team name is Good Googly Goo.
Yep.
He's out of Maryland, and he is, honest to goodness, one of the best people I've met in barbecue. And he's just he's a class act all the way. And his team name's awesome because every time he gets a call, I get to go, giggly,
I got to meet him this year in Augusta, Georgia. He came down to Augusta to cook the double. I met him. I'm sure I don't ever remember if maybe or not, but I got to meet him there, and it was nice to see. It's really cool to see people, like you said earlier. I've got to meet a lot of people through this show. but I meet them like this, right? So it's one of the deals where I don't get to meet them in person, and then where I see them commenting back and forth, but I've got to meet a lot of people, and he's one of them that I met. I was like, oh man, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. And that's what's really cool. So
yeah, he's one of the best new cooks here in the Mid Atlantic, and he'll be around for a long time.
yeah. So
Yeah.
what is the Mid Atlantic like? What is the competition scene in the Mid Atlantic like? Is it an up and coming thing? Are there a lot of new teams coming in, or is it?
There's been a lot of turnover recently. A lot of people leaving the area. A lot of newer cooks. But Mid Atlantic's hard. I keep telling you guys in the South and in the Midwest, come out here and get humbled. Come out here and win with a 675. That happens. I've seen 3 700s in this area since I've been competing. It just doesn't happen, and it's tough. There's a lot of great cooks out here, and everybody's right there in it every weekend, and it's a lot of fun. It's really competitive, but we have a good time too.
I think a lot of people get their feelings hurt if they went up and cooked in there, right?
Oh yeah.
There's Fred Robles. How you doing, bud?
Freddie.
Got to meet him in Augusta, Georgia. Also, that was really cool to see him. That was a great contest. There, I meet a lot of people in Augusta. Fred, we were just talking about your experience at the Luke helping you at the Royal last year and the invitational side of things.
Fred and I have had, we've not known each other very long, but we've taught a class together, and we cooked on 2 years ago. Smithfield did their guinea pig up here in Virginia, and we borrowed Tuffy's double barrel Jambo. We put it right on the line between our sites.
That's awesome.
He cooked on one side, I cooked on the other, and we had a really good time. Yeah.
Oh, that would be a blast. I mean, he's a great guy. I got to meet him too. I got to meet that whole Texas crew coming out there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of fun. Great cooks. He let me try his brisket. Man, incredible brisket.
His brisket, words can't describe it. And I think it's just the tenderness that he achieves on that. Those Texas guys can cook beef, man. They're really good. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and that was the first thing I said. I was like, man, I want to try Texas brisket because I mean, I know, and sure enough, I got to try Lee's, and I got to try. I don't think I didn't get to try any of Bill's, but I got to try Lee and Fred's, and I mean, just incredible.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, Ron, we're not brothers. We just like to cook barbecue. Glad to see you on, man. Hope you're doing well. But he looks way better. He's got a better beard than I do and everything else. I'm working on mine. But
I got the spotlight in my face. It makes my eyes all squinty.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'm working on my setup, and I got to get a better light system in here. But anyway, so what is your favorite demographic? Where's your favorite? Do you like going out west? Do you like staying in Virginia, the Midwest, or the Atlantic? Or where do you like to cook the most?
I don't really. If I had to pick, I'd say down south. I mean, we do pretty well. A couple of times we've ventured down that way, and but for us, the best favorite place to cook is somewhere where we've never been before. And I'd never cooked in Florida before, and my mother passed away in December, so I had never been able to cook Lakeland because of my old job.
Okay.
And my dad's family lives down near there, and I called him up and I said, "Hey, do you want to drive to Florida and run boxes?" And so me and Dad took a road trip, took the J3 down to Florida, and again, had no expectations of doing anything, and get down there and borrowed a trailer from now one of my good friends, Jeff Troop. Didn't know the guy, and he offers me his trailer. That's what barbecue is. It's awesome. And my dad, he's so stupid. We would, I'm cooking the food. I'm not asking him to do anything, except run the boxes. And after turn-ins, he's like, "I gotta go." I said, "What do you mean you gotta go?" He goes, "My legs hurt." I'm like, "Turn-ins are right over there, dude. Like, Well, I walked around a few times. There's a lot of girls around here. I was like, geez. So he leaves and go to awards and sit next to, Bill Gillespie and Tim Shop. And, we had 3 high calls. And I'm texting with Dad saying, hey, man, like, we're in this. We've got a chance. And he texts back and says, oh, make sure you tell Bill and Sean that they're just great people and I really enjoyed them. I'm like, Dad, we might win this thing. He goes, that's fine. Just tell Bill and Sean I really appreciate them. I'm like, it's crazy. But we ended up RGC in that contest. And, I'll never forget that.
That's awesome. Yeah, especially spending time with your dad and everything else. That's really cool.
Yeah, fun.
Dick Bordeaux says you need to come up to or Bordeaux, whatever. He says you need to come up to Michigan and cook up in Michigan.
Oh, that's on our list of places to go. We would love to come up there and cook. We got to get into Minnesota, get up there into Michigan territory. We need to get out to Iowa and give Darren and Lucky a little, see what I can do out there. And, there's just, our goal is to cook in every state if we can. And, there's a lot of places we want to go. And next year is our COVID kind of screwed up some stuff. Next year is our 20th wedding anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. My wife's been to 49 states. I've been to 45. And the plan was to go and cook in Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, knock out the states that I needed. And so we could go to Alaska on a cruise
cool.
And yeah, it's not going to happen. So we'll probably delay that to the 25th anniversary. But yeah, there's just a lot. I want to go down and cook in Texas. Who doesn't want to go cook in Texas?
I know.
And do that. And, there's just a lot of great places, a lot of great experiences still left to be had. I'll never stop doing this. It's so much fun. You meet so many great people.
That's one thing I've learned doing the show is before I get into it, it's KCBS, that's all I really knew. But after talking to some of our teams and friends and everything else, Bob Trugnut says, get your ass back here for a seafood boil. Aaron Leslie says, come on down. Mike Schillen says he misses the unicorn jambo. It's not too late to cook lacrosse. So you're getting, everybody's asking you to come down. But that was what's so cool. As I was going to say, is like there's a BCA, there's an IBCA, there's St. Louis Barbecue Society. There's all these different opportunities to cook. And if we just could go out and do that, I mean, it's and every one of these little sanctioning bodies has a group of people that are just tight knit. I mean, it just seems to be really cool. That's one thing I've learned about Texas, talking to Fred Robles and even Boomerang and some of these guys out there. I know when we had Phil Breeden on talking about IBCA and how different that is. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'd love to go do something like that. I think that would be a blast. But I don't
got to do IBCA one year at the
Houston Radio.
No, at the World Food. They did They did the IBCA the day one, and my wife was helping with another female pitmaster in the fire and ice thing. So I was by myself, and I cooked these beautiful, beautiful chicken halves. Hung them in the drum. Man, they were beautiful. Put them in the box and took a picture, and I showed them to Adam from Cajun Blaze. He goes, "No, wrong contest, dude." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You got to cook that thing till it looks like a hostage. You got to beat the hell and be super tender so people can get in there with a fork." I had no idea, and I still maintain that those were great chicken halves.
You're still proud of them.
I still am. I don't care. They were fantastic.
That was one thing talking to Adam. Adam's one of our sponsors. One great guy. I love talking to Adam. But he did. I mean, it's like you got to cook the food to where they can get it with a fork, and the way that whole judging process goes, it goes from round to round to round, and it's just interesting. It's a whole different process. Like that's what to start out our conversation. Your process that you have for chicken, you can't use that process going to an IBCA contest. No. You got
to learn a whole new set of rules and a whole new set of tenderness requirements is the biggest thing. That's the thing. And there's a couple other things with IBCA that I never would have thought of, and just learning that whole process, learning how different it is, it's a lot of fun. That's the great thing about barbecue. Like you just said, there's so many different ways to do it.
Yep, and it's a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
what kind of seafood boil is Bob talking about? Barbecue Bob. What is he talking about?
Bob does this great seafood boil. We did a couple of videos at his house, and it was the shrimp and the sausage and the corn and the potatoes. I mean, it was the second best thing we had that day. I made a seafood paella that was way better than that, but uh, but Bob is one of the princes of barbecue, man. That guy does some great work. He has some great products out there. And yeah, I enjoy cooking with him anytime that I can. He's a barbecue guru, makes a great product. And
Bob's got some great. We sell a lot. We sell all of his rubs and sauces and everything. Great products.
yeah,
Just if you haven't tried them yet, there are some rubs and sauces that you need to have. He's even got some wing stuff going out and some.
I just did a YouTube video featuring his Mighty Mitch wing sauce and his Mad Maddie's steak and burger rub, which I used on the wings. But all these beef rubs are fantastic on chicken wings.
That's you hit the nail on the head. There's a lot. It's funny. People ask all the time. I'm like, well, I've heard people use beef rubs on different products. So whatever you want to do with it, and it's crazy. A good rub is a good rub no matter what.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, I think you said that Donnie told you it doesn't matter what you put on it, you got to nail the tenderness, and that's
and all the great teachers and all the greats from barbecue say the same thing.
Yeah.
Rubs are one thing, sauces are one thing, but if it ain't tender, you ain't got a chance. And that's honestly how you get to the top. It's knowing when it's tender. That's why it's not a coincidence that you see the same guys winning the big events all throughout the past 20 years. It's because they know the tenderness game, and that's the biggest difference between. It's also the biggest difference between a guy that cooks 10 times a year and a guy that cooks 30. I tell people all the time, if you want to be a better competition cook, go cook 5 weekends in a row, because you're going to learn about tenderness, you're going to learn about yourself, and you're going to learn about barbecue and what it takes to get that food right every time. And you find little tricks and little details that you didn't think would make a difference, but they do.
Right.
And you discover a lot of them on your own, and that's what makes it fun.
And that's when I haven't been able to do that, but that seems like that's when it gets to the point to where it goes to another level. Like once you're able to find them on your own, instead of having to be dependent on somebody else asking questions or telling you something like that, once you can get it up to where you're doing it, now it becomes, it's more special to you or whatever, because that's your process. That's what you do, instead of, well, I took this class 3 years ago and that's what they told me to do. Right. Now it's, okay, well, I took this class and I'm going to incorporate my twist on that. And then it's like, okay, now you're your own person.
Yeah. Definitely.
So you do classes. I know you talked about this a good bit. When do you have more classes coming up? Do you have more classes coming up, and how can people sign up for them?
We have 3 backyard classes coming up at Lancaster Barbecue Supply in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We're doing a holiday cooking class, a seafood class, and a tailgating class. We've really started doing this end of last year, and just teaching people how to cook food on a smoker that they can apply in everyday things. Competition classes are great, but everybody wants to learn how to cook in their backyard too, and that's been a lot of fun. We've had some. I think we're going to do a competition class in March. So if people, make sure you like Old Virginia Smoke on Facebook, and we're going to get some. We're looking at some dates already to get it out there, so we can hopefully get people ready for a full 2021 barbecue season.
Nice. So that's going to be after Young Harris. No classes before Young Harris. Okay.
No, it's too cold up here.
It seems to be a lot of teams are starting to wind down their season. The ones that have been going, it seems like some people are starting to wind down. I know down here in the South, in Georgia, we still have 2 or 3 more contests coming up, and then it'll kind of go down. So it's a great time to start practicing. Tom, if you haven't been able to cook, start practicing now to get ready for 2021. And like you say, Luke, just be ready to come out firing in that first beginning of the season.
Yeah, it's that's an underrated thing. There are very few people out there in the world that can not cook for 3 months and then go fire up the pit and throw down a GC. I mean, I know they're out there, but I'm not one of them. I have to continually practice and be on my timeline and know where I'm going and know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's why I try and stay sharp as much as I can.
Yeah, and you're doing a heck of a job. All right, so as we're wrapping up, where can people hear your podcast?
So you can find it's called Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. You can find it on any major podcast distributor such as Apple or Spotify. We have the YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, search Old Virginia Smoke. We have some fun stuff up there. We're going to have a lot more stuff coming up there as well. Website is oldvirginiasmoke.com. Instagram is old_Virginia_smoke. We're pretty much everywhere, and just trying to keep stuff going out. It's a lot of fun, and I think there's a lot that we can. A lot of people are staying home and cooking, so let's give them the tools they need to succeed.
That's right, and he's on Facebook, Luke Darnell. Look him up, and he will. I mean, he's a nice guy. I mean, he's going to do whatever you need to do. Look, he even answered me when I asked him to come on the show, so that's a great thing. But Luke, I do appreciate everything.
No problem, Brian. Yeah.
And I'm sorry it took me so long to get on, but this is what we do. We just chew the barbecue fat here and just have a good time and talk barbecue and have a good conversation. But
I've had a blast, my friend. It was great hanging out with you and great talking with you. And you can tell Mark Gibbs that he'll never walk alone. I see his comment on there. And
yeah, he said Liverpool. Yeah. Whatever.
No, I'm a big soccer fan. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Is it almost over, or is it still going strong?
The new season just started.
New season just started
in England, and Liverpool were champions last year, and he's an Everton fan, which means he goes to bed sad pretty much every weekend. So it's okay.
So if Liverpool was a champion, it sounds like you're doing okay.
Not too bad.
There you go. All right, Luke. Have a great night. Thanks everybody for coming on. We'll see you next week. Chewing the barbecue fat. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Luke.